The APS Workplace Excellence Awards are an initiative of the Australian Psychological Society's College of Organisational Psychologists. Hi, my name's Heather Eichen and I am the college's Executive Lead on this year's awards. And on behalf of the college, I'm pleased to present you with some information and tips for entering the awards in 2018. So let me tell you a little bit about the APS Workplace Excellence Awards. So what are the benefits of entering the awards? By entering, you have the opportunity to be recognised as an Australian leader in the use of psychology to drive organisational performance and enhance employee wellbeing. With an increased emphasis on psychologically healthy workplaces and a genuine desire by organisations to deliver a positive employee experience, this is really becoming more important than ever. It's also a great opportunity to receive acknowledgement for your achievements by Australia's leading association for psychologists, the Australian Psychological Society. The awards provide you an opportunity to demonstrate the value your organisation's efforts are having on your people and the business and your stakeholders as well. It promotes improved focus on the strategic value of people initiatives and the importance of alignment between people and organisational strategy and direction. It's also a celebration of professional excellence and your commitment to your work. Finally, being recognised with an award is a great way to enhance your employer brand perception, demonstrating you as an employer of choice, while also increasing the engagement of your existing workforce. In terms of key dates for the awards, entries are now open and you can find all the information that you need to make an entry, of course, on the Workplace Excellence Awards website. Entries will close on Monday, June 25th. The judging process will commence soon thereafter, and I'll explain a little bit about the judging process shortly. We're looking to announce the finalists on Monday, August 27th, and this will be done through the Workplace Excellence Awards website, as well as through our various communication and social media channels. And each entrant will be notified prior to this individually on whether or not they have been successful as being acknowledged as a finalist. And then save the date, Thursday, October 25th. That's when we will be hosting the Gala Dinner Awards Ceremony, and this year that will be held in Melbourne. Stay tuned for more information coming very soon about the location and details for the Gala Dinner. Okay, so on to the award categories and the judging criteria. There are 4 core criteria that are very important to pay attention to when it comes to the submission process for the awards. Each of the categories also has 2 specialty criteria. So it's really important to read the guidelines to understand each of the criteria, along with some ideas for what you can submit into each of the award categories. So let's take a look at these 4 core criteria. The first is innovation in design and application. So what we're looking for here is really a demonstration of creativity, thought leadership, and cutting-edge practices that deliver outcomes. So if you've done something that's a little bit different, we really want to know about it, and it's important that you highlight this in your submission. The second core criteria is utilisation of psychological knowledge. So again, we want you to demonstrate where psychological knowledge has been used within your project. This is really what sets the Workplace Excellence Awards apart from other awards programs in the fields of HR and business, because what we're really looking for is where examples of psychology have been applied to deliver excellent and outstanding outcomes for organisations. If you don't have a psychologist involved in your project, that's absolutely fine. But it's still really important to acknowledge where you've actually drawn the psychological knowledge and expertise from. So if there are some key references that you can highlight, please ensure these are included in your submission. If a psychologist has been involved in your initiative, then it's important to also highlight this as a part of your submission. Impact on the organisation. So the third criteria is really about demonstration of individual, team and or organisational benefits. So we're really looking to ensure that the intervention that you're submitting for actually has some sort of demonstrated outcome for the organisation. And lastly, it's about sustainability. So we want to know how the intervention has been or will be sustained through embedding strategies, but also we want to understand that it's an intervention that isn't going to be so expensive. For example, the organisation will never be able to sustain it because it will be too costly. So there's a lot of things that you can consider in terms of sustainability, sorry, in terms of both financial and people resourcing and how realistic it is that the requirements of the project will be able to continue. The Workplace Excellence Awards include 7 categories. For each category, submissions should respond to each of the 4 core criteria as well as an additional 2 category-specific criteria. The 2 category-specific criteria for each of the categories are outlined in the Workplace Excellence Awards submission guidelines, along with some suggestions about interventions that you could submit into each of these categories. The 7 categories are Emerging Directions in Organisational Psychology, Leadership Development and Coaching, Organisational Change, Organisational Development, Performance and Capability Development, Talent Management, and Workplace Health, Safety and Wellbeing. The College has appointed a series of judges to judge this year's Workplace Excellence Awards. There will be a panel of 3 judges for each category. This year's judges are all fellows or associate members of the College of Organisational Psychologists. The judges have extensive experience and expertise in the 7 award category areas. Each judge is required to sign a confidentiality agreement prior to receiving any submissions, prohibiting them from sharing the details of submissions and thus protecting your intellectual property. Judges are held to a very high standard of professionalism and integrity, which is in line with the APS Code of Ethics for Psychologists. When judges receive their submission pack, they will first independently review submissions and complete an evaluation form for each submission before later conferring with their fellow panellists to moderate these evaluations and determine the finalists and winners for their category. Pictured here are the judges for 2018. You can find their bios on the WEA website. Now to some of the most important information that I will share with you, writing your submission. Please ensure you use the submission template provided. You'll see a picture of this just here on your screen. This has been included to help structure your response and to make it more straightforward for judges to review and compare submissions. You can include pictures, tables, graphs and so forth, but please try to avoid including any unnecessary marketing and branding information. So let's review what you need to cover. There are 4 key sections, each with a specified word limit. You don't need to use all of this word limit, but please don't exceed it. So the first section is the issue, which has got a 400 word limit. Please ensure you outline how the issue was identified. So what diagnostics, analysis, data, etc. was actually used? Was there a business driver for this particular intervention? Was the intervention required in response to external drivers in the marketplace? These are the sorts of things that you should highlight here. The next section is the intervention, for which you've got an 800 word limit. So what we want to know here is, what was the chosen solution and how was the intervention actually selected? Did you consider a range of solutions that might work for this particular issue? In this section, it is very important that you demonstrate the evidence base for your intervention. What psychological knowledge, theory, models, etc. was actually used to underpin this intervention. The third section is the outcomes, again, which also has an 800 word limit. What we want to know here is, how did the solution address the issue? Was it actually successful? What impacts has the intervention had in the short term and the long term if it's something that has actually been in place for some time within the organisation? And the final section, for which you've got a 500 word limit, is value. So what are the ultimate benefits that have been realised by the organisation due to this intervention having been implemented? Let us know if there were any unintended benefits that you were able to achieve. In this section, it's also really ensure that you address the criteria regarding sustainability. And you'll also note that there is a final section for which there is no word limit. We'd like you to include a reference list. So here, please include any references that are actually referred to specifically in your submission, but also if there are any key reference points that were used that you haven't referred to in your submission, but were key drivers for the evidence base for your intervention, we would love to know what those particular sources of information were, so please do include them here. Okay, so now I'm going to show you the submission form. It's one of those very frustrating forms where when you actually click on it, you'll see that there's mandatory information. So without filling out that information, you can't progress through and see all of it. So I'm just going to show you that now. So this first section is the entrant details. So first of all, we want your name. So we're just being clear about who is actually completing this form. The entrant organisation, this is obviously quite important. So that's the primary organisation entering the awards. And then you'll see that the next field is actually for partner organisations. So submissions may be submitted by multiple organisations involved in a single project. So that might be a consulting firm and their client, or it might be an organisation that's partnered with a university for a research project. Make sure you include the names of the additional organisations in this section. We've got a section here for project contributors. So I just want to point out, please don't provide an army of people. It's really the key people that were involved in your submission. We'd love to know their names, their positions within the organisations, which organisation that they're a representative for if there was more than one organisation involved. And we'd also be interested too if you'd like to include any qualifications that they may have. Down below, when you scroll down on this form, which you can't see here, we've just got some additional fields for the contact details of the main contact person. This is the person that's really, I guess, the expert on your submission. So if we had any questions or needed to follow up for any reason, who is the person that we should maintain contact with? This is also the individual that will be notified if your organisation is successful in being recognised as a finalist. Also down below on the page, there is an additional question here that asks, would you be interested in delivering a presentation on your initiative? Now, the reason why we've asked this is that last year and this year, we're also looking at planning an event during the daytime. So last year, we referred to it as a showcase event, and it provided finalists an opportunity to come and present in a little more detail on their initiative. It's not compulsory, it's just a value add for finalists, allowing them an opportunity to be recognised by their peers. The second page is the key project details. You'll see here firstly, importantly, the award category. Now, when you submit your form, you may only select one category. Please ensure you select the right category. Entries into multiple categories are permitted, but the form needs to be completed for each category. And when you put your submission in, it really does need to be tailored for each category. So you should change your submission up a little bit to be tailored to those two category specific criteria. If you do not change your submission and submit identical submissions into multiple categories, we do reserve the right to include those, and you can read that information in the award guidelines. Then on this page, we also have a project summary, so please provide a well-written summary of the project here. This is a little bit like an abstract. The APS may use this summary to help promote your achievement if you are successful in being recognised as a finalist, and that's particularly the case if you do end up presenting at an event. We may use that for marketing purposes to promote what you'd be talking about during your presentation. The third section is the award submission, so this is where you actually upload your submission. So you need to use the submission template provided, as I've already discussed. And again, I'd like to reiterate, if you don't, your submission may not be accepted. Please also note that there are only 3 file formats that you can submit in, documents, .docx, and also PDF file formats. You can also submit here your supplementary information. Now, we haven't talked about supplementary information yet, but you can again find this information in the guidelines. Now, there may be sort of appendices that you might like to submit along with your submission, evidence that might substantiate the value that your submission has made, for example. So you can submit an additional document with information that supports your submission, but it must be limited to 10 pages. The final page is the authorization. Very important that you note these tick boxes. You need to read the terms and conditions when preparing your submission, and here you need to acknowledge that you have done this. The second tick box signifies your organisation is aware of the submission and you're authorised to make that entry on behalf of the organisation, and that includes any partner organisations. You will note an approval and authorisation form is included. Each organisation needs to fill out this form and sign it by an individual that is actually authorised to grant permission for that application. And it's important that you really make sure that you do this for each organisation. And when I say authority, if you're a government organisation, for example, you've probably got a senior executive that needs to be aware that something like this is being submitted. So that's everything you need to know to get you started on a great award submission. Our contact details are pictured there in your screen. Please do feel free to contact us if you have any questions, or consider following us on social media for updates. Visit the Workplace Excellence Award website if you would like some inspiration for your submission. You can find information about past winners, read case studies, and view the finalist videos that were produced for previous year's award ceremonies. Finally, I'd like to wish you the best of luck with your 2018 Workplace Excellence Award submission.